What scientific discovery would change the course of humanity overnight if it was discovered? Nuclear fusion. If we finally figured it out, it would solve all our energy problems as well as our pollution problems. Fusion net energy output has already been achieved. It's more of an issue of the engineering processes in refining nuclear fusion such that it is sustainable and capturable in a reactor. This isn't really a one major leap thing. What about efficient cold fusion? There we go. Cold fusion would be the real game changer. Affordable high temperature superconductors. We are talking new transport methods, maglev and floating cars, no loss power transmission, faster computing, new power generation methods. Honestly, it'll allow us to move so much further technologically, it'll make a lot of difference to the progress of humanity as we know it. A planetoid the size of Australia on a collision course with Earth. An affordable and feasible way to neutralize CO2. Something that would immediately turn it to water, or oxygen or fairy dust. Clean and unlimited source of energy. We are orbiting a massive fusion reactor. Aliens visiting Earth with non-Pacific intentions. Edit. I wonder if Earth's countries would cooperate or if aliens, experienced conquistadores, will look for collaborationists and fuck us hardly as European did with Native Americans. Compare our brain to the next most intelligent primates and you're looking at a 2% DNA difference. If aliens' technology is reflective of their intelligence, we'd be seen as cockroaches on a planet chock full of natural resources. Cooperation wouldn't even be a thought. Any species that could travel light years across the galaxy could destroy us from orbit and there'd be nothing we could do. Star Trek's replicators. Imagine everyone having the ability to easily replicate food and anything else they might want at the push of a button. Wealth would almost become meaningless. If all they took to work was electricity, we'd still have a dependence there. But even so, you're right about wealth. Your worth would be measured in creative skill, something that cannot be replicated. Don't know too much about Star Trek, but I believe that was kind of their point. They lived in a world where work was no longer required and creativity was what captured people's focus in lieu of leisure. Immortality or bringing the dead back to life. Bringing the long dead back to life would just be fantasy. But depending on how you define immortality, it is something that is entirely within the realm of plausible scientific advance. Clinical immortality to start, and then mind copies to protect against anything suddenly killing your ageless body. Mind copies would just be a new form of reproduction. If you die, you're still dead, regardless of how the copy identifies itself. The copy may be immortal, though I'd hardly find that comforting. It's a philosophical question of what makes you you. Some argue that there is something intrinsically important about having a link back to the original version of you. But to me, this isn't any different from believing there is a soul that we would fail to copy. I don't see any basis for saying we can't full copy you. At which point, there are two of you, and they are fungible. It does not matter which of you is the original. That being the case, it's a small leap to say a restored backup is still fundamentally you, just with the lost experiences since your last backup. The discovery of alien life within our solar system, even if microbial. Right now, there's no way to know if life is common in the universe. We could be extraordinarily rare. But if we find even one organism in our system, we will know for almost certain that life is exceedingly common. That will change philosophy everywhere. This might actually be bad thing sort of. If life is quite common, then there should be life all across the galaxy. If it's possible to move at even 0.1% of the speed of light, then it would take like 50 million years to colonize the entire galaxy. Considering the fact that the galaxy has existed for like 13 billion years and life on Earth started like 4 billion years ago, it should be very likely that we should have seen many signs of alien life. So if life is quite common, then the only explanation is that something prevents life from reaching that level of technology, and the scaring thing is that we might not have reached that something. We are living in a video game simulation. The discovery of some sci-fi-esque alternate dimension telecommunication medium like subspace. Untraceable instantaneous infinite range connectivity without requiring any infrastructure. Short-term consequence, ISPs would no longer have a viable business model. They're slow, congested, throttled, tiered service versus a perfectly functioning infinitely fast technology that requires only a transmitter and is not and cannot be throttled or intercepted in any way and has no monthly costs whatsoever? Looks pretty clear to me. ISPs lose hard mid to long term consequences. Botnets, election rigging etc. would be even worse than what we have today. China would probably collapse, at least partially, since a China with totally free flow of information would look very different compared to what we know as China today. A collapsing China would send ripples throughout the entire world economy, probably triggering smaller collapses. But on the plus side, free anonymous information exchange would be possible once again without having to fear oppression and persecution, because something dystopian like the Great Firewall, PRISM, or total information awareness would be impossible. Ultimately, it would lead to a better world, but not without great amounts of pain hitting us first. Also, the current copyright model would not be sustainable in a world where perfect piracy is at everyone's fingertips, forcing content creators to think about how to monetize their work in that new world. I think if true AI was created, it would completely change the world. There are so many fundamentals of technology that are changing every day. Just recently I was in a conference with a few guys working at the University of Toronto, and they said they were trying to change the way that we code. I think a lot of discoveries are often either world changing or a complete flop. A lot of things that we do are out of habit. We use X formula because that's just the way it is. We eat X food because it's known to be healthy. There are little things all around us that could possibly be extremely dangerous, or the next cure for cancer. The most important thing is to constantly question why we do things. True AI would be extremely dangerous. It would have the cognitive capacity and reasoning to perceive humans as a threat to its existence and quite possibly act to eliminate that threat. AI would change our life more than 99% of the things in this thread. Google technological singularity. If we created a true independent AI, it would almost immediately surpass our entire civilization in technology and advance at an exponential rate. It's literally impossible for us to imagine what life would be like, as technology would be constantly advancing at a rate too fast for us to comprehend. Anything proving any religious belief would be a very immense upset that would shake the very fabric of every society on this planet. An invention that would eliminate the need for sleep completely. Time travel would definitely change the course of humanity. We could always work towards the best outcome of every possible situation. Roughly in descending order of importance: time travel, deities, magic, psionics, wormholes, free energy devices, superluminal travel/communication, aliens, super intelligent AI, mind uploading. Probably missing some here, but that's a pretty good start. Not really scientific, but if anyone found an efficient algorithm to solve any of the NP-complete problems, there will be hundreds of positive and negative effects. For example, all of modern cryptography would be broken, cancer would be easier to find a cure for, and society would never be the same. Code to conversion/neutralization technology. This one will be vital, but at the same time, it would be risky as it would affect nature. Obviously we'd have to find a balance to reduce the amount of CO2 we have without killing the various flora across the world. Genome replacement/revival to restore species from extinction. We probably are pretty close to this, as well as adjust the genomes of creatures so we can create/clone them with the genome we've created. Think Jurassic Park in that regard. Full dive virtual reality. What would be better? To be able to upload our minds temporarily to a space where we have minimal limitations of our body, except maybe a time limit, so we don't spend all day in there unless we decide to upload our minds to the internet. The technology to live a lifetime in seconds. See how it goes with criminals. Maybe it'll help reform them, or people with terminal illnesses who never had anyone can experience life in a better way, or people with addictions could see the joys of life without their substances. CRISPR at any stage past embryo. Imagine going to a doctor and asking to be an inch taller, and they change your DNA right there and you grow. Obviously that's a pretty simplified example of what actually happens. Still, we are talking near, if not definite human immortality and complete eradication of disease. Even at embryo stage, once this technology gets out there, perfected, and spread ethically, that's basically going to happen. Alien life, microbial on a small scale, complex life on a larger scale, and intelligent alien life on a major scale. Warp speed, how to traverse the great distances between the stars. Otherwise we are looking at having to send a multi-generational voyage, where the great-great-grandparents of the original passengers will be the ones to reach a new world. Also cryogenic sleep, so the original boarders will also be the first to reach a new world. 3. A true Earth twin, because that's the only place worth voyaging to due to our biology. 4. How to harness the full power of antimatter, or lightning for I hear, that either could power the world for a generation, and I'm talking just one bolt of lightning, and a small non-amount of antimatter, don't quote me though. 6. The cure for cancer, Alzheimer's, HIV and other extremely destructive diseases.
My friend from England had to take a break, so I am the one to see you off. Thanks for watching. More videos every day. Please subscribe for more content, or else, you're a boomer.